Subscribe to Hactually for the ultimate shortcuts to the system, because today we are going to hack the human mind. We're talking about a literal cheat code for human behavior. Look around your environment right now. We all have that one person. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Maybe it's a coworker sitting 3 desks down in your bright open-plan office. Maybe it's a manager. Maybe it's just a friend of a friend who always seems to subtly undermine you. Someone who just completely and utterly despises you. You can feel the hostility radiating off them the second you walk into the room. It's a terrible, uncomfortable friction. And when you feel that friction, your biological hardwiring goes into absolute overdrive trying to resolve it. Your natural, deeply ingrained human instinct, the factory setting you were born with, is to try and fix it. You want to smooth things over. You think to yourself, if I'm just relentlessly positive, if I just show them my value, they're going to have to like me. So what do? You start being extra nice. You buy them a coffee on your way to work. You offer to take on some of their workload. You compliment them. You do them a favor. You try to bridge that gap with overwhelming kindness, hoping that if you just give enough, the friction will finally disappear. Stop. I need you to stop doing this immediately. You are making it infinitely worse. Look, when you do a favor for someone who actively dislikes you, their brain does not register your action as kindness. It registers it as a threat. It registers manipulation. They look at that expensive vanilla latte you just placed on their desk and they don't think you're sweet. They think you are trying to buy them. They think you are trying to indebt them to you. Their psychological defenses instantly go up and the walls get 10 times thicker. You're basically proving to them that you're exactly the manipulative person they thought you were. But what if you didn't do what your instincts told you to do? What if you did the exact opposite? According to the behavioral psychology we're breaking down today, if you want someone to stop hating you, you absolutely do not do them a favor. No, you ask them to do a favor for you. It makes zero logical sense on the surface, right? But welcome to the human cheat code. We call this the Ben Franklin glitch. To understand how to execute this in your office tomorrow, we are going to rewind the system all the way back to the 1700s. We're going to look at one of the most brilliant psychological heists ever pulled. Benjamin Franklin wasn't just a statesman. He was a master hacker of the human system. Historical accounts show he had this fierce, highly vocal political rival in the legislature who publicly trashed him at every single opportunity. This man openly despised Franklin. He was destroying Franklin's reputation. Now, instead of fighting back, instead of arguing policy, and instead of trying to be this guy's servant to win him over, Franklin ran a different script. Franklin knew this rival had a very rare, exceedingly expensive book locked away in his private library. So Franklin bypassed the man's ego entirely. He sent his enemy a letter, not to argue, but to politely, humbly ask if he could borrow that rare book for just a few days. The rival was completely confused, but he was also deeply flattered that his sworn enemy recognized his superior literary collection. So, against all his own instincts, he sent the book. Franklin returned it a week later with a very simple, polite thank you note. The result of this one tiny interaction, the rival approached Franklin the very next time they were in the same room, shook his hand, and they became loyal, lifelong friends. Think about that for a second. Really let that sink in. How is that actually possible? How does taking something from an enemy, demanding their time, leveraging their property, consuming their energy, somehow make them genuinely like you? It violates everything we are taught about human relationships. It's not magic. It's not because Franklin had some supernatural charisma. It all comes down to a fundamental flaw in human processing. It is a literal biological software error deeply embedded in the hardware of the human brain. And once you know it's there, you can trigger it on command. You need to understand this core concept. Your brain is fundamentally a logic engine. It thrives on consistency. It absolutely hates contradictions. When you hold a firm belief about something, but your physical actions output something entirely different, your brain experiences severe physical stress. The psychological literature calls this cognitive dissonance. The system detects a fatal error between what you think and what you do. It's not just a passing thought. It's a spike in cortisol. Your heart rate might literally elevate. It's a biological alarm bell ringing in your head saying things do not line up. So let's look at the mechanics of the crash. Here is exactly what happens. Step 1, you approach an enemy and ask for a small, totally reasonable favor. Step 2, basic social pressure forces them to complete that favor. Step 3, as they are physically completing the favor, handing you the object, their logic engine completely crashes. They're acting entirely out of alignment with their internal programming. The physical brain starts to panic. The internal monologue is thrown into absolute chaos. The subconscious starts whispering, "Wait, I hate this person. I spend all day thinking about how much I despise them. But I just helped them. I just went out of my way to give them my pen. I just held the elevator door for them." The logic engine violently scrambles to find a rationalization. It has to relieve this immense physical stress of the dissonance. So it frantically searches its database. Why would I help someone? I'm a good, rational person. Good, rational people do not help their enemies. Good, rational people only help people they actually like. And here is the brutal, authoritative conclusion the brain is forced to make to save itself from a total system meltdown. Therefore, I must not actually hate them. Let me say that again. I just helped them, so I must actually like them. And right there, the code changes. The brain literally rewrites its own programming, its own memories, its own emotional states, just to justify the physical action that took place. It forces the person to like you, purely to resolve the internal conflict. They don't consciously choose to forgive you. It is a completely involuntary glitch in their operating system. You force their brain to hack itself. History is great, but we live in the present. We deal with modern corporate warfare. So how do you weaponize this psychological cheat code right now, today, in your own life? How do you deploy the Franklin glitch against that coworker who keeps shooting down your ideas? The absolute secret here is scale. You must start micro. You do not walk up to the coworker who wants you fired and ask them to co-sign a massive loan or help you move apartments. If the request is too large, their brain has an easy out. They will just say no, and the glitch never activates. Your request has to be practically invisible. You are looking for highly specific micro-favors. You walk over to their pristine, bright white desk and you casually ask to borrow their stapler for 10 seconds. Or, even better, you ask for a quick piece of advice on a project they're highly knowledgeable about. Listen, asking for advice is the modern-day equivalent of Franklin's rare book trick. It flatters their ego, it forces them to assume the role of the benevolent expert, graciously helping a junior colleague. Or it can be something as incredibly mundane as asking them to hold the elevator door as you rush in with your coffee. This creates what we call the no trap. You have asked for something so incredibly small, so deeply insignificant, that if they look you in the eye and say no to handing over a stapler, they break the social contract. Refusing the microfavor makes them look completely unhinged and unreasonable, even to their own logic engine. They literally have no choice but to comply.
The exact second they comply, the trap snaps shut. The moment their hand extends and they give you that pen, look closely. They might look annoyed, they might roll their eyes at you, but deep inside their neural pathways, the cognitive rewrite has already begun. The stress is building, the rationalization is firing, the glitch is activated.
Now, it might take a little consistency to completely overwrite the old code. Human brains are stubborn, but the psychology suggests you only need to trigger this glitch 2 or 3 times over the course of a single month. Just 2 or 3 tiny, microscopic requests. Ask for a pen, ask for their opinion on a font color, ask them to pass the water pitcher in a meeting, and you will literally watch their deeply entrenched hostility completely evaporate into thin air. This is the ultimate paradigm shift. You do not win people over by bowing down and being their servant. You win them over by giving them the quiet, subtle privilege of letting them serve you. Stop playing the corporate game on hard mode. Stop relying on flawed instincts that just make you look desperate and manipulative. Once you see the underlying code of human behavior, you can never unsee it. The matrix is open. So think about it. Whose coffee are you going to stop buying tomorrow morning? Subscribe to Hacktually for more of these breakdowns, and let's keep hacking the human.